Now, plot is something I spend far too much time thinking about as it happens. Let me just check the chat. Because again, I'm not sure I understand plot a great deal, you know. In science fiction and fantasy, we tend to think of plot as an action adventure plot. And so if you write a story that is very quiet, people will say it has no plot. But that's not actually true. A plot is whatever happens in the story is the plot. But in its simplest form, in terms of writing a story, a plot is just a character trying to reach a goal. And all you have to do so the story doesn't end on the first paragraph is to keep stopping them. Just throw obstacles in their way. And that's what makes a story. You know, poor Odysseus is just trying to get home. You know, and if he just got on his boat and gone home, we wouldn't have the Odyssey, would we? So we have to keep chucking problems his way. There has to be a storm. He gets shipwrecked. He meets, you know, he meets the I can't remember. He meets a witch. He falls, you know. Otherwise, there's no story. So that at the very, very basic, and the obstacles, you know, it doesn't have to be someone trying to save the world and the baddies kidnap him, and it can be you trying to get cheese from the fridge, and you know, and you stumble and there's something on the floor. Anything that slows you down. So plot. So when I was thinking about plot, and I was thinking about plot quite a lot, how does it work? What is it? Why is it important? I came across this article by John Mulan that says plot is not just a sequence of connected events, you know, because a series of events is really like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and this happened. This is how you tell a story, you know, when you don't, you know, and this happened. It doesn't matter. No one cares if a bunch of things happened. So a plot is something rare. It's the unfolding of a hidden design. Plot involves the laying of clues, the implicit promise to the reader or viewer that the true significance of what we read or see is not self-evident, but it will eventually be revealed. A good plot exploits not just suspense, but also a kind of retrospective curiosity. When we know that a story has a plot, we find ourselves asking not so much what will happen next, as what has already happened. Right? What he's actually saying is, even though we're reading to find out what will happen next, we trust the author to tell us that what happens next will cast everything we've read in a new light. The ending will change the way that we look at the beginning. If it doesn't do that, if, you know, then we have just a sequence of events that happen, and that's a lot less interesting. So this one of the reasons I was grappling so hard with the idea of plot is because I was writing a book called Six Lives, which was literally a series of six lives. It's starting in 1855, moving on to 2012. Six stories over nearly 2 centuries. And the problem was, if I'm not careful, this is just going to be six stories about six different people, and it's not very interesting. It doesn't, it's not a book. It's not a story. It's not a whole story. It's six different stories. And so the realization is that when we get to the end of the book, we sort of look back on the entire book in a new light, that these parts cannot work independently of each other, really, that each one leads in some form to the next, and each one informs the next, and we look back and it informs it. So the beginning only truly makes sense when we reach the ending.